Oh, it's 10.
Welcome everyone back to Democracy 3.0. We are a collaborative democratic organization building an inclusive consensus and growing the organization to the point where we have some weight behind that consensus. Just so far just the three of us today. We did the Stanford Democratic Deliberative Democracy experiment yesterday. So I guess TC, if you want to talk about that a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, I'm still processing. A couple things came up for me was right before the thing it said wear headphones, and I got panicked. So I had a panic attack right before the thing. And then I had a little bit of trouble paying attention. And but it worked and it did everything it said it was going to do, but I didn't feel the juice that you get in a meeting like this, where you can just, you're free to flow. And it felt a little bit contrived and like deer in the headlights in the beginning, where everybody's trying, well, what is this? I've never been here before. What are we doing? And so one of the things I've been watching where they do it for a weekend, and I would see the emotional connections and shifting over a weekend of doing this. And I realized in hours, we might as well meet like this for an hour, because if we have a topic at hand, we can just go around the circle like Eddie says and just take turns. And but I want to see if I can't continue to support them and get these big things that they do where they get hundreds of people together for a weekend.
So TC, for those of us who spaced out and didn't make it, can you describe what the process was like and how the AI kind of was supposed to facilitate things?
Okay. Well, first off, we were late. One guy didn't show up and they waited. I think we didn't start till 10 or 15 after. And then it just white screened and a video came on. Did the AI speak before the video, Eddie?
No, I think it was just a recording. Yeah.
So we saw about a 3 or 4 minute video about what the session was going to be about.
Yeah.
And then there were 4 or 5 agendas, and you can see them over on the right, and they were marked off. And the first agenda was to introduce yourself. And you had a certain amount of time to go around the room and everybody introduce themselves. And then you go to the next agenda. And the next agenda was, what do you think about emission standards for transportation? And you get a certain amount of time, and everybody got 45 seconds. And some people were okay. Some people got cut off, and it will cut you off. When your 45 seconds is over, you get a red light, and then, so there's a little bit of down at the bottom, there's I want to talk and I'm finished. So if you want to get in the queue, you hit I want to talk and it puts you in the queue. And then when you're finished, it lets the next person in to talk. I kind of like that, where you could ask for permission or a turn to talk, and you knew when your turn was going to come, but I think it needed more time. And then at some point it would start saying in words, not in talking in script. It would say, do you think we've covered this issue? Do you think we need to discuss it any further? Can we move on to the next agenda? And then I don't know who was responding to that question. I wasn't. But at some point it says time for the next agenda. And so the next one was, what about buildings? What about efficiency? And So then we talked about that for a certain amount of time. And then the next one was whatever. But it went on like that. Then what happened was it said that we were going to be taken to this place, this planetary plant, anyway, we're supposed to go somewhere and see something else. And it just stopped. But it left us in the room and we had a good time after that. It was because people that who had gotten charged up about those issues, they were there going for it, and they were getting in the queue and taking turns, and then the one that kept getting cut off, she figured it out. Just as soon as you get cut off, hit I want to talk, and it'll put you right back in. So
You guys figured out how to outsmart the AI.
yeah.
You
But
give me hope for humanity.
Oh yeah, it was it just, I didn't feel like it was trying to get me to think any particular thing. It was just asking me these questions. And of course, I had a situation where, because of whatever's wrong with me, or whatever's right with me, I couldn't hold 3 questions in my mind at one time. And so but I had fun. I was still the cheerleader and the happy guy in the room. So any more questions? Well, let's say Jamie. Hi.
Hey, Jimin.
Hi, hi.
Good
So,
evening.
hi, thank you so much. So my name is Jimin Mason. I'm the vice chair of the People's Party of Washington. And I was just kind of wondering, I know it came up on my calendar, so I know this must have something to do with something that I agree with, but I don't know exactly what the meeting is. Sorry, I'm so sorry.
You're good.
Yeah, no,
I saw you earlier in the UPA
Right.
meeting.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay.
Anyways, so yeah, my name is Brian. Neo put this on the calendar for me.
Okay.
And Ed, and this is actually Eddie's space. It's sort of a place for people
Oh,
to
Ed Lee.
discuss
Ed Lee.
things.
Eddie, yeah.
Ed Lee.
No,
Eddie.
that's a different Ed.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
not Ed Lee. Eddie.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
we're Democracy 3.0. It's all of our space. And
Okay.
it is, we are a collaborative democratic organization. We're working to build an inclusive consensus with everybody who's willing to join us. And then to, grow to the point where we can vote as a block and, build a consensus and then express our consensus to the politicians in power and say, this is what the people want.
Right.
Do this or we're voting you out.
Right.
That's
Right.
it in a nutshell. Yeah.
Yeah. And
So,
we're in that, right. And I'm in the same boat pretty much, that's what we're doing. UPA is doing. That's what, really, that's what we as the people got to do.
Yeah.
And I'll yield the floor. I appreciate you guys letting me in here and say something and filling me in.
Yeah. So Jimin, that's Eddie's version of it. I've been doing this for a couple of years, and so my project is the American Union. This is what Neo and I have been talking about, and some others. And so basically, we've already done that. I don't know where it is, but yeah. So the American Union is backing a specific legislative package that ends poverty with universal basic income, ends mass incarceration with major criminal justice reform, and ends the endless wars by bringing the troops home, downsizing the military. I know you probably saw that listed in the sort of the description.
I did, and I couldn't agree more. We're right
that's
there.
the thing the people all over America agree, but we don't have any good way to leverage our votes, and so that's what the American Union is a union of swing voters willing to leverage their votes. And so by writing down the legislative package, it's 207 pages long. I used to be a state representative in New Hampshire for a number of years. So it's written down. So the politicians can't just like say, oh yeah, I agree with this. It's an actual something that we expect them to put on the president's desk.
Yeah.
And so it turns the model around. It says, look, incumbents, if you want our votes, great, put this on the president's desk before the midterms. Action first. We don't trust you to keep your word. Take action first, get our vote second. And if you refuse, we can vote for your opponents. As you know, third parties don't work because you need like 35% of the vote to elect one candidate. But as a union of swing voters, you only need 3.5% to control the balance of power in Washington. And so offering this one legislative package to candidates in all 469 of the federal races, this is the national message, a national basket of solutions: end poverty, end mass incarceration, and the endless wars. And so the American Union is a super PAC whose entire purpose is to influence the outcome of the 2022 midterms. Not one dime goes to any candidates. It all goes to spreading the message and growing the block of swing voters. And so I'm in North Carolina, where we've got a US Senate seat up for grabs and a couple of swing districts. And so by focusing on some of the key congressional races around the country, and just building up blocks in those districts, when we can, say with authority that we control, 3 to 5 Senate seats and a dozen House seats, then we control the national conversation around these are our terms: end poverty, end mass incarceration, and the endless wars. And Jimin, look, America's like super polarized and things are like could explode. And so here's an opportunity to bring people together around specific solutions that are driven by our constitutional duties to each other. And so bring people back to our roots and offer people a way to come together and solve some problems as we come out of this pandemic. And that's what the American Union is about. And I appreciate Eddie again sharing this space for me to promote it week after week and try and siphon up some volunteers.
Yeah. I mean, the idea came from listening. Me and Brian used to do a YouTube channel on economics together, and so I've heard about the American Union for a while, and one day I said, that's pretty interesting. That's good. Like we've got like a 200-year-old system where you elect politicians and then the politicians get up there, and it doesn't really work that well. It's supposed to express the will of the people, but it's not functioning well. And it's the 21st century, and collaboration and communication is much easier. That's Brian's trademark prop. He's got to show everybody the legislation that was going to pass.
There was a lot of work that went into writing all of these details down and making sure that it holds together, that it's consistent, and there's a lot of work that went into that.
Right.
But that's the point. That it's a different model. That we don't have to depend on Republicans and Democrats to work out these details. We can do it ourselves.
And quite obviously, we can't depend on the Republicans or Democrats. I mean, it's written all over the wall. Joe Biden is the perfect example. We hold everything democratically right now. They could do everything that we want to do, whether it's by what do they call the executive? Yeah, thank you. Executive orders. He could do that all day. Medicare for all these things that really would help America, like really the people, we the people. He could do that, and we got nothing but excuses. Like he was right about one thing. He did say nothing would fundamentally change, and he was dead right.
We're getting a new war, though. You got to say this about Trump. Trump didn't start any new wars.
Right. Actually, he went above and beyond and made it almost better. I don't know how that worked, but shit, man. Yeah. No, I agree 100%. And like I said, I'm against both parties, period, because they both suck. And they both, like you said earlier, in my opinion, something we're drafting up and working on right now is, man, I don't give a damn whatever your district is, that median wage, you don't get paid 3 times the amount of your constituents. I don't give a damn. That's why they don't work for us. Why? Why would they when they have no idea what we go through as humans, period? Like, they live in a different tax bracket, which means they don't know what we're doing. Like, they don't know how we live. So if you can't sympathize with us, at least empathize with us, dude, you shouldn't be there, period. And you can't represent me if you got a refrigerator that costs $10,000. I'm sorry, but because I sure the hell don't, you know?
I think that's more than I paid for my last 2 vehicles combined.
Right. That's, oh my gosh. And everybody that I don't know what it is. Well, I mean, for me, and this is one that I could confuse or not really condone, but I could understand, I could empathize with, because I did it, would be just not caring enough to care, you know, and not caring enough to actually look into things and like kind of sift through and this and that. But for you to know what's going on and just to be complacent, get the hell out of here. You know, you might as well, if you're complacent today, whether it comes to the Black community, whether it comes to we the people, if you're complacent, to me, get the hell out of my way. I don't got nothing to say. If you can't stand up for me, I got to go somewhere else, you know, because I will stand up for you, you know, in your fight. So, yeah.
Well, this is going great. I'm glad you came. How do you
So
say
it's
the name again?
Yeah, it's like Benjamin without the Ben. So Jimin.
Oh, Jimin.
Jimin.
Okay.
Well, like Jimin, like if you were to
Jimin.
say, yep, bam, there
Jimin.
you go. Yep.
Yeah, I'm glad you came.
Thank you.
What I was going to say about why I'm here is I saw this thing where Stanford University does a thing called deliberative polling, and they get hundreds of diverse people together and poll them, put them together for a weekend, and facilitated and informed meetings, groups together. And then they poll them after the weekend and they see how it changed. And they've learned that people change and they come together. And I saw it as a way to end this polarization that's keeping us from moving forward. And, you know, we all know it. And so then I saw Brian was doing this proposal for a better America. And I thought, well, what we'll do is we'll use that as topics for discussion to get people together and get them together around that idea. And so then I came over here and joined up and saw coalition. And what I'm seeing is each week, all of us show up and we have our gig, and we're all on the same road, but we're walking on different paths.
Right.
So I finally figured it out. I'm not the leader, I'm the cheerleader. And yeah, go, go, go. And I'm so happy you're here.
Right.
And so now all my job is just to be happy and go lucky and cheer you guys on. I mean, the work Brian's doing and Eddie, it's wonderful. And so I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, glad to be here. Thank you. Thank you.
So how about you, Eddie? What have you been working on this week?
I mean, that's the most biggest thing for Democracy 3.0 this week was just that the Stanford experiment. And I mean, it was interesting. I feel like one of the things that I'm thinking about is, I mean, most of the format, I almost like our format a little bit better. But there's one thing that was different, and that maybe we can think about, which is their discussion is very organized. There's a preset set of briefing materials. There's a preset agenda. And I don't think we should go all the way there, but maybe there's something to think about, like get going maybe like 1/3 of the way there, or something. Right now we are very like just free flowing, and it's just as people a little bit as whatever what people want to talk about and what people want to do. So I don't know. I don't have any hard conclusions about it, but that's where I am right now. Yeah. Yeah. Jimin, you can go ahead. Normally we go in a circle, and when we go in a circle, I suggest people to just like talk when it's their turn. But with 4 people, just talk as the spirit moves you. Go ahead. Go right ahead.
Okay, awesome. We yeah, I was just gonna give some input on how we do it. We obviously have bodies. In the UPA we have Greens, we have Progressive Party Builders, we have People's Party members, we got different states, but it's a huge coalition, and we have an agenda, and we come in there, and then but the only person that can actually speak, I'm saying when you guys really get big, or we get big, because I'll come in here and sit and talk with y'all and shoot the shit and pass good ideas, because I mean that's the only way we're gonna win, y'all, is by doing this right here and really connecting across the country. But we just have the elected delegate for that group speak, and it just totally today was crazy because everybody was some madness happened, but that's a real good way to kind of keep it together and keep it real straightforward. And I'll yield the floor.
Thanks, Jimin.
So I want to update people. Last week, I was really excited about some new maps that North Carolina had passed that were going to create 4 of the most competitive House districts in the country, which was an ideal scenario for a union of swing voters. Unfortunately, it got back to court, and on Wednesday, the court threw out that plan and came up with one of their own. And so now I'm down to 1 swing district and 1 competitive district. And then the other 12 are pretty much guaranteed 6 Republicans and 6 Democrats. Wow. So there's 2 of them that are maybe possible, but yeah. So I was pretty upset about it on Wednesday when I found out what the court had done, but it is what it is. The strategy is still sound. It just they just plucked some of the low-hanging fruit. So I've got to work harder or get a bigger ladder.
Got to get more people.
Yeah. So I guess, all right. So update on that. Yeah, I've been looking at textiling for texting people, because in North Carolina, all the phone number, all the voter database is all public information. So we can just pull out our target demographic, say, people in their 20s who put a phone number in and are registered independents, and there's 200,000 of those people in North Carolina. So we can start texting them and text 1,000 people, see how many respond, and say, hey, are you frustrated with the way the Republicans and Democrats are representing you? Here's another option. We can disrupt the duopoly, the same way that GameStop traders disrupted things by saying, look, we're not going to play your game of picking the lesser of 2 evils, but instead we're going to stick together and do what works best for us. Even if by your metric it doesn't make sense, it makes sense for us, and it can produce the results that'll benefit us all. So that's something that I'm looking for people to work on, the texting component. If you guys know anybody who's worked on those in the past or has any interest or experience, let me know.
Brian, what's the call to action for these texts that you're planning?
So it starts with an information, like letting people know, there's an alternative to the Republicans and Democrats. That still involves the Republican or Democrat getting elected. Like nobody's going to change that. They're going to win 99% of the time. But we can still improve the outcome, even if they're the ones who get elected. So the specific call to action will be through the Action Network, to direct them to a petition or a donation page or a sign up page where they can sign up to be a member of the American Union for a $5 a month pledge to the super PAC.
Yeah.
And so obviously they can donate more, but $5 is enough that we can say, all right, we have this many dues paying members that we're negotiating on behalf of.
Yeah. Brian, maybe you could do a trial, and with some of the texts you could try like inviting them to this meeting so that you could talk to them. You could think,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
but yes, that's a good idea to offer some other opportunities for people to
Yeah.
interact.
I mean, I think that they're like a little bit like, I mean, everybody's been doing petitions and stuff, for ages. And I don't know, to me, it feels like there is like room there for people to plug in to a movement in a more, interactive, like a more, just a little bit larger way, rather than just clicking on a link, signing it, tapping, yeah, I agree with this petition. I think there's a little bit of room for people who might want to be, even a little more involved than that. So I mean, that's
Yeah,
sort of that's my thinking.
And so that's how we ended up settling with the Action Network as being our hub, because we have the one umbrella, the American Union, and then we can have all these child groups underneath it. So on the state, congressional districts, or around issues, right? If you're passionate about, reforming qualified immunity or something like that, then you can have a child group that's focused on that, outreaches to people like that, and then anyone else that you gather into your group filters up to the parent group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been thinking lately about, what if there was like a virtual space, which is sort of like a conference or an expo, but it's for, potentially for political movements, but it's like you could like set up sort of a virtual booth, and any like the people's the United People's Assemblies, or every organization, every advocate, everybody could be like sort of setting up booths in a virtual conference space, but it's like it's 24/7, and you could, in your booth, you could have like a little button which says, if you want to talk to me, tap this, and it'll signal me to open up a Zoom call with you, and we could just chat. Just like at a conference, you're standing there waiting around, but this would be available, like anytime that you're next to your phone or computer. So it'd be like a 24/7 virtual like organizational space where people can just it could allow people to sort of meet each other and collaborate and find out what other people are doing, and what other people are doing something similar to what you want to do. That's been an idea that I've been thinking about lately.
That's an interesting idea. Like, what if you could have a Zoom room that was, had a volunteer in it 24/7, and encourage people to stop by and talk and ask questions.
Yeah, and they wouldn't even have to be there. They just have to, it would just have to message them. And so, and then if it messaged them, as long as they're available, or it could message like 3 or 4 people, and then whoever's available could just open up a Zoom room right there, and you could just chat with people, because they saw your booth and they saw your message, and they like it, they're interested, and you could just connect. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say with the talk of getting the group bigger, and then you brought this up, Eddie, and at first it was like, but then when I could see this carnival, like I'm at the carnival and I'm going around to all the different booths.
Yeah.
And and I can see what everybody's about. And that's one of the things I was talking about earlier. We're all on the same path, but the same road, but we're on different paths. And so people can go around and start connecting those up and then within themselves. Even if the groups can't come together, the people can bring them together within themselves. And then I wanted to ask Jimin about his experience with the bigger group, because you mentioned that you have a delegate process or something, and I was curious about that. And because, like you say, if we get people to show up just to see what's going on, and it turns out to be a lot of people, then we're going to need to know some of that technology. So I'd like to hear from you, Jimin.
There we go. So yeah, I would absolutely love to share. So today was kind of crazy, just because there were new people, and every week that new people come, it's like it's almost like you got to start over, which, I mean, it tends to happen. But we had the week before this, we had we have regen as well, regenerative culture. So they're building up there for, we got some real therapists and real people that want to help, just to be able to talk. Because a lot of time we get mad politically because we don't agree with somebody, but there's no one there to kind of defuse that situation. So regen is a really awesome part of what we're doing at the UPA that I think really more people should invest into. But with all of those people today was a little crazy, but when we were on that subject, it was like, man, I've never seen a process like that. Like, it just, we whizzed through it. We got through the whole document, the whole situation, and people, delegates speak, raise their hand, or however they do it. We do stack in our situation. Push stack, they raise their hand and say it, because you have the whole week before, you have an open document. Everyone gets to add comments, talk through. And then at the end of the week, everyone kind of comes together. We come to the consensus. You write the bigger picture that was brought down in the document. You bring that to the meeting, bring it up, and get a floor vote with everyone. And it's really working, man. I really think that this is going to be awesome. Brian, what did you think from the outside looking in? Just kind of.
So, I used to serve in the state legislature, so it sort of reminded me of floor debates where, a committee had worked on something and brought it to the floor. And then in New Hampshire, there's 400 members in the legislature. So then all the, people would come up with questions and things like that. And so what I was thinking specifically today was that, in the New Hampshire House, like someone would speak for the committee specifically and be one, so there'd be one point person to address all questions and things like that. And so I thought that's what, the UPA could have benefited from today, was like one person who would speak for the committee proposal and be able to explain the thought process and why and answer questions.
Cool. And that, I mean, that's what we want, is feedback. And that's why we open the doors to anyone to talk about it, because that's how you win.
Well, I'm glad you asked, because I mentally added it to my to-do list. I'm like, oh, I should email Mark Mixon and throw this to him. But now I've told you, Jimin, and so now you are the keeper of my thought.
Right.
And it's
So
off my plate.
Could you? I will totally do it. Could you put that in the chat so I can copy it, like your thoughts exactly? Just so
Sure.
I mean, I heard you, but I would much rather it be in the safe
Sounds
space.
good. I'll write it down right now.
Awesome. Thank you. But yeah, Mark's our chair. So,
Okay. I'm curious about, you said something about regenerative, and it sounded a lot like facilitation, people that are qualified facilitators to bring those heated moments back to ground.
Right. Yeah.
And that's the idea of this deliberative process that I'm talking about, is it's facilitated.
Mhm.
And the reason they made the AI was because there's not enough facilitators. They would have hundreds of people in a group, but they would break them into like little groups of 8 to 10. And that takes a lot of facilitators. So they just made a platform that has a facilitator built in and kind of keeps it on the download. But I think a human facilitator is a wonderful thing, though.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's interesting. It's everywhere. It's everywhere I look.
Yeah.
You guys are
Well,
actually doing it.
Right. And that's exactly, and we have, I think, Brian, correct me if you saw anything different, but I think there's 7 states that have bodies in the UPA. The Black Voices Collective just stood up today, and we, formed a body. It's awesome. It really, I mean, we're just started and it just took flight. So of course, like Brian will take, information like that and sift on it, kind of sit on it overnight or over a week, talk about it, discuss it, and then move forward. But the point is, as long as you have the people in mind, you can do no wrong. As long as that's your real heart in my book, as long as your heart sits with the people and not these people shitting on us, excuse my language, then man, you're my kind of guy or gal or whatever.
Well, I'm excited that you're having such success at getting people to come. And I don't know. I don't know. I just broke the silence. I don't have anything to say. No, this is interesting. And how big is this group?
Oh, you're
You're
muted. You're muted, Jimin.
Can you hear me?
Hear you now. Go for it.
Okay. So we just hit 120 today. Like I'm actually saying hi to everybody, but you got to think this is a national too. It's a national organization and it's wide open. You don't got to be a member. You don't got to. So I can share the link in the chat and anyone can just go in there and look and hang out and see. And like I said, we're working on building a national platform. So that would be for anyone to join in and give input or, pull stuff from it. Nothing is held by us. Nothing's bound by us. Like everything's wide open to help the bigger picture.
What's it called?
United People's Assembly. Yeah.
United People's Assembly. Now
Yes,
that's
sir.
amazing because I was started out looking at Citizens Assembly where they did it in Ireland and they changed their whatever their ruling papers, whatever you call that. Anyway, so in Ireland they did a 9-month process of deliberative about different issues, and they changed their. Well, I can't get the word, but and anyway, so then I found out about this deliberative process, and now you're saying United People's Assembly, and it's like, well, right back where I started.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah. It's pretty, I'm super excited about it, and it wasn't, like I said, it isn't my idea. It's kind of all of our ideas. That's what's even cooler. It's a collaborative effort between many different states and many different ideas. Republicans are in there. Like it's kind of hard sometimes because I'm like, fucking come on, dude. But it really gives you the even kill because everybody got good points. There are things that everyone will agree with. I don't care who you are, as long as you have that hardcore of being for the people. Dude, everybody has input that should be valid and listened to,
The word is constitution. I was thinking of. They changed their
Okay.
constitution, and you're doing what I wanted to accomplish with where I was going. you're doing it. So I want to get the link and I want to go
Yes.
watch.
Yes. Yeah. We'd
Because
love to have you.
I'm just a cheerleader anyway. So. And like you say, you have the wide variety of people. Like, you know, right now I only have the group of people that I think like.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I'm in my little silo with the people that I know, and you're out in the world. That's wonderful.
Trying to be, that's for sure. We are definitely getting our feet wet. I don't know. I can't, for some reason I can't post my
You're
my
link.
well, I can't see the you know how normally you hit the right button and you can see your past stuff. I'm not, for some reason on this chat, it won't let me. It just nah, because I know that isn't, if I pay something right now, I don't know what it is. So that's weird. Jason, do you have that link by chance? Is that why? Like, do you have the link that brought you to the meeting today? Do you have that somewhere, or like, because I can't see mine to give it.
Are you asking me?
Yeah, or Brian. I'm sorry.
Hey.
I'm sorry. I don't know why I said Jason.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll find a link to the UPA Gilded server.
Okay, awesome. Because I'm kind of stuck. I don't know why. This doesn't let you, it says paste, but it doesn't let you, this app doesn't let you see like your right click button. It's
working like
weird.
my brain. It just won't let you click in certain places.
Right. Right. It's weird. But I'm not trying to take up y'all. Brian said he'll get that for you though. And we'd love to see and get input, or, you know,
Yeah,
however it goes.
that's great. So, hey, Eddie, look, we got a place to see this happen instead of having to make it up ourselves.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, actually, Eddie, you're in the UPA Gilded, right?
I think I joined it a few weeks ago, but I mean, to be honest, that I haven't gotten deep into it. I joined, but I don't know what else to do there.
Right.
But yeah, I'm curious, does UPA, do they do sort of like online stuff?
Yeah, that's,
with meeting?
yeah. We and what do you mean as far as for going to the meetings?
Yeah, as opposed to
Yeah.
physical, like, do they have, like
No, yeah, it's all Zoom. Well, we use Meet, Google Meets.
Google
Yeah.
Meet? Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
okay.
how we do everything. But I mean, originally we got a Google Suite, and so we just kind of stuck with it. It works, and
Right.
you know, Zoom's kind of,
Yeah.
they're kind of, you know, how would I say that? They're the big money people. You know, but Google Meets works. You know,
Right.
so
You know, if you're not paying for it, you are the product.
right,
Mm.
right. Oh, there
Okay,
it goes.
yeah.
Yep, right there. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate that.
We had someone here 2 weeks ago from this.
You've had a bunch of people here from this, like Neo and Richard and Patricia.
Oh,
Yeah, because Neo was kind enough to put this meeting on the
Right,
on
that's
the
where I
calendar.
saw it. Right, that's where. Okay, thank you, Brian. Yeah, he put it out, and I was like, you
Yeah.
know what? That's my kind of title for a meeting. So yeah,
I forget what he
yeah.
titled it, but yeah, but that's
Cool.
Jimin, where are you on the planet?
Washington State.
Washington State.
Out
Oh,
here
you're
by
the
Seattle.
chairman of something.
What's that?
You're working with the Washington People's Party or something.
Well, it's called People's Party of Washington. Yeah, me and Neo. I almost came out to New York the other week, but my wheelchair broke, so it kind of messed the whole situation up. I got to see my grandma and them in Georgia, but I didn't want all them New York. You know, I had never been there, so I was just excited, and then that happened and kind of threw me off. But Neo, I love that dude, man. They're awesome. That whole New York party's cool. So
Yeah, I drove out there for their event last
Oh, you
month.
did?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's where I
cool.
connected with them, and
Okay,
yeah.
awesome, man. Yeah, that was cool. I was actually there too, just virtually, on the computer they had going the whole time, and
Mhm.
we just kind of partied like that with them. But because they were kind of bringing in their, I believe it's the SOC process in there in New York that they had, and so we just kind of stayed on the thread and party with them. I had my drink and chilled out and just hung out with them. It was awesome. You know, this whole media thing definitely showed how much work you can do from at home. So
Can I
Yeah,
ask
but
you a
Jimin, it was
personal-
really nice to do an in-person meeting and
Oh,
meet
sure.
meet people, actually talk to them and wander around a physical space. It had
right.
been a while since I'd had one of those. So.
Cool. Yeah, I was, like I said, I was almost there with you, man. If it wasn't for this damn wheelchair, I'd have been right there with you.
Well, I was going to ask you about that. So you're challenged. You're physically challenged.
Yes, sir. I have MS, but obviously it don't stop you from doing nothing. Somehow these people made me a vice chair.
All
So,
right.
I mean, we got big things going on out here. I'm, like I said, we just got a proposal. Ja'Cory Arthur is the Louisville, Kentucky councilman out there, and they got reparations for Louisville, which is a city. And so he's running for Congress out here. His name's Jason Call. He was like, can you get a hold of that resolution so we could try to write that in Washington? So sure enough, we had this big thing on reparations. Ja'Cory Arthur came, sent me his resolution. So now we're doing it in Washington. Like, that's what it's about. You guys just sharing this wealth of knowledge, man, all the way through all of us. And we all win,
Are you related to the People's Party? The one that they're trying to do nationally?
The national,
Yeah. I think they have some issues.
I and those people.
Huh?
Yeah, well, I can't stand them.
Okay.
So
It's the whole complicated story, TC.
Oh,
yeah, it's pretty in depth, but yeah, we definitely do not associate. And now it just came out that Nick Brano has sexual harassment charges looking at him, and so now, before we just were quiet about it and just we didn't like them, but we still wanted the solidarity, so we just kind of dealt with it. But now, as far as those charges, and we're like, dude, stay the hell away from us. You're DNC 2.0 is what you are. So
okay. Yeah, I saw that dude today on Jimmy Dore, and
yeah.
he was saying, well, we want to have a polarity, and
Yeah, no.
it's like, polarity my ass. I want, like Brian says, I want somebody that's going to get shit done.
Right.
And I don't want a fucking discussion. I want shit to get done.
Right.
And
Well, and again, so that's sort of the point of having a legislative package up front. So if you have a paramount objection, if there's something in there that you absolutely can't accept and you're willing to throw the whole thing out, so be it. I mean, it is what it is. But there's a lot of really good stuff in there.
Oh,
And
man.
so, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Did you send Mark? So you talked to Mark, and you guys have, was he able to look at your stuff? Because
Yeah,
we
we talked. It's been a while since we've chatted. We're overdue to catch up.
Okay.
He came last week.
Okay.
And we talked for a few minutes, but
Right. That's the brains. I'm just good at connecting dots, man.
yeah, he's a super busy guy though. So
Right. And we all are, activism doesn't rest, as all of us know, if you're a good activist anyways. So, but he tries to get out there as much as you can. I've been really trying to rein in, doing what a vice chair does and kind of picking up where he just lost his job, and he's going through it. So, but yeah, this, as far I took care of the state, he's taking care of the national thing. And it's working, man. And we really, you know, we're really doing big things. I don't know if you guys have heard of Whole Washington. On Monday at 2 o'clock, we're going on their what's that called? StreamYard, their big national thing, and we'll be talking on that next week, which is exciting. We get to promote UPA as well as POW is what we call it. Kind of like, this is how you remember People's Party of Washington. You remember the old Batman things where it'd be like POW and like have a hit. That's how you do it, man. POW. And that's People's Party of Washington. It's a pretty cool acronym.
I love your energy. You're fucking on fire, man. You're fucking awesome. You're
Awesome.
like cheerleader 3.0.
Hell
man.
yeah. Hell yeah.
Up.
Hey, I really like what you said. You know, the first night we did a statewide meeting, Betsy, she's now our media messaging. She was like, "You're the best cheerleader I ever seen in my life." So
Yeah.
I'll be a cheerleader as long as we get shit done, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow, I got cold chills.
Well,
I met a brother again.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And you come up there, you'll meet a lot more. You know, it's like we said, you don't got to be, you can just sit there and listen. You don't have to, it's wide open. So,
All right, what day is it?
there's the big meeting today, Thursdays at 4 o'clock, 4 to 5.
At what?
Or 4 PST. So it'd be 8 Eastern.
4?
4 PST, 4 Pacific, 8 Eastern.
Okay, 4 Pacific. That's all I
Yep.
need to know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, 4 o'clock Pacific time. Yes, sir.
On Thursdays. Oh, Thursday's going to be a fun day now.
We definitely have fun, man. We definitely have fun. Today got a little, like I said, somebody brought up damn reparations, and I'm the delegate for the Black community, and this guy was like, "Well, if you bring up reparations," and I had to say, just from talking to the Black community, which I do constantly, anymore, like real people that want us to be all right and be made whole. They literally, if you don't have that on your platform, the Black community, I'm sorry, but you lose all of us, because we were supposed to get 40 acres and a mule. Lincoln wrote that, so if you walk around with disenfranchised people, we got therapy, mental illness from this. I mean, we've been dealing with this for so long, and it's just been the norm and accepted. Well, so this guy brought that up today, and I was like, hold on, had to raise my hand. I was hoping today was my first day as a delegate, but I sure as hell had to kind of check somebody, because we can't go for that anymore. We're just, it's been too long. So
Time for the healing.
yeah.
yes, sir.
And so how do you see that helping America heal, I guess?
So how I would, oh man, I gotta somehow, so I have a reparations video, because I know y'all don't have all night. I believe that healing, giving back, and making the Black community whole will help on, first of all, it's not you or me, or not me, but anyone else. This ain't taxes. This is a government issue that has to be dealt with. MMT explains exactly how they can do it. We print our own money. Like, we make our own money. All this whole boogeyman about inflation and all that shit, that's a crock of shit. Look at how they.
Okay. Yeah. And so again, Eddie and I talked about this. You can see all our old episodes talking about this kind of thing. So yeah, we're on board with that. But again, so there's, say you can add $2 trillion and spend an extra $2 trillion. And you're saying all of that should go as reparations instead of to everyone else. So when you're saying, it's not, I mean, how does that help the country heal as opposed to coming across as dividing us?
Right. So number one, it's the biggest boost to economy that you could ever imagine. we're not going and putting our money in closets like these billionaires are. We're going to buy new sinks. We're going to buy we're putting back into the economy that has taken from us, nothing but given. So that's number one. Another way, this wouldn't only be money. We'd also want, I've heard tell of, what was that? He just said it too. Cornell West was talking about it yesterday. I forgot that one, but another positive that it would do back for the economy. I mean, just think about, because we're trying to be equal, brother.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's, it absolutely would be good for the economy. I guess the question though is how does it help the country heal and come together for the money to only go to American descendants of slaves,
Right.
versus, the other 100 million poor people in this country.
Right. Right. I get it. But those 100 million poor people are poor today because life today has ridden on them. We've been poor and destitute and disenfranchised since the beginning of time. We came here in shackles. We weren't, and not just like the natives, they got their land ripped away from them, genocide and slavery. That's what America was based on.
Yeah.
And that's what they got to pay us back for. So,
would you include Native Americans in reparations?
Oh, hell, well, and now I do want to say this, American descendants of slavery that would be the first thing on my issue, that.
I'm gonna plug that that book is a
Really? What is that called? Is it good?
I mean, I've read a lot of books, so it's good. Like there's better ones, but an Afro-Indigenous history of the United States, looking at the relationship between,
I'm gonna, you know what? I got a credit on my thing today. What's that called? My Audible. I'll get that right now. Because
I'll put it in the chat.
Right. And I did, and what I'm saying is I would like, because regardless of how shitty it was, they got reparations and they were okay with that at the time, even though we know it should have never been okay. And we should be asking them for things. If anything, they talk about immigrants and all this. We all were immigrants. The only people that aren't immigrants here is the Native Americans, period. And that's, any way you cut that, that's how that goes. So, thank you. But I believe that by healing the Black nation, the Black community, I truly believe that alone, that what's it called? Making those people equal will rivet and just totally take over the feeling everywhere. If we get made whole as a people that were already happy and already thriving and already still doing all right for the most part, not thriving, but doing all right and making it by. Sure, we have 13% of our 13% of our, what's it called? Will somebody help me?
Population.
Black population. 13% is Black, the Black community. So if we do that, how do we make up 50% of the homeless? Like for real, around the world. Like think about that number alone, because these are facts. The Black community Black individuals make up 50% of homelessness in the world, around the world. Now, how can 13% of people and then 50% of the whole, oh my gosh, what am I saying? 13% we are, the Black Americans. We make up 50% of the homeless community. So if you did the math on that, that's horrible. You know how much more destitute and downridden. And I understand there's Black or white Americans here that are poor, but they ain't got that 50%, bro. If you do that math, 13%, and we make up 50% of the homeless community, that is freaking horrible, So
yeah, it reminds me a little bit of like the idea of truth and reconciliation. And I think it's very important for people to acknowledge the facts, acknowledge the truth, and say, like, look, this is what happened. And I think even beyond the facts, about making people whole, I think that's necessary also, because it puts some power to that facts. Like, not only are you going to say, like, this happened, that's absolutely true. We're not going to deny what happened in the past, and we're going to try to make it right. And it's not going to be perfect. And not everybody's going to be 100% happy about it, about the way you
Right.
do it from either side.
Right.
Everybody's going to have their own perspectives and be like, well, whatever, maybe it should be more, well, maybe it should be less. But I think that is important. And I think when you do that, that is the basis for reconciliation, because
For everyone though.
until you do that for everyone, until you do that, it's in everybody's head. I mean, there's like a certain fringe, like white supremacist, and to me, like, from I was a cog sci major, and I think a little bit like it's sort of like a defense mechanism. It's like, there's a certain portion of people who want to say, the Holocaust didn't happen, this didn't happen, that didn't happen, and I don't think that's I think that's it's not a healthy thing, and it's it's something that you have to you have to be brave, and you have to get past that and say, look, it happened. Even if you're no matter what side you are, if you're the descendant of the oppressor or the oppressed, or either way, or whichever side you're on. I'm Chinese American. My parents were my grandparents were nationalists. So in Asia, there's this whole, it's a whole complicated thing. You had the communists in China, you had the nationalists, you had Japan, and and then you had the indigenous, the people in Taiwan before the nationalists went over to Taiwan. There's all sorts of conflict. I mean, that's life. Stuff happens, and I think the best thing is to find the truth and speak the truth and act from the truth. Yeah, that's my
Agreed 100%. And I really like what you said, Brian, about, or Eddie, about saying how that alone, by helping make us whole, by doing that, that will infect a positivity that literally infects the world. Like, if you see us walking around like, dude, we can actually live, we can actually be okay, we can actually push, and think about what that would do to energize the rest. Holy shit, they really stood up and made this happen. After all this time, people stood together and said, hell no, it's over. So then we, the people, energize ourselves and say, no. And in fact, yeah, you gave them reparations, you gave the native, but it wasn't enough. Now let's stand with them and get them what they deserve, and get them living how they deserve. Give them the Black Mountains, whatever that's called, that they're fighting over right now. Get that shit out of the ground as far as the pipeline and stuff. Let people live. Stop just stop suppressing what is reality. Just like Eddie said, it's I think it would literally, I mean, just that act of people seeing that, I think it would cause, I think people would really breathe from that and be like, shit, well, if they got that, what about us? And what about this? And you know what? You raise your hand and say that, and I see truth in what you're saying, dude, I'm right there to stand beside you, period.
So why not start with that? Why not start with something that's universal and lifts up all Americans?
Because there was so much, in my opinion, and this is what I'm saying, like, one thing that, like, I'm not against what you're saying, and I'll stand with you on that issue. But what I'm saying is, I have the Black community is ready to make something right that has been known, hidden under blankets, hidden, but people have known this for all this time. They just kind of be quiet, Nelly, just go back under there and live with it or see it this way. So what I'm saying is, like, I don't think that, I think that if you did that for everyone, I know that the Black community would not be happy because they weren't seen and made equal before when it happened before. You see what I'm happening? See what I'm saying? Natives first and foremost. Slaves, descendants of slaves, got to be second. And just because, I mean, and then like we said, it opens the door for everyone and everyone sees that. Like, no, we're going to make it right for these people too. Like you said, I'll go stand with you any day on UBI, healthcare for all, any issue that helps all Americans, I'm there for. All I'm saying is that don't forget the Black community, because if you give everyone, if they were to give everyone this, we would still be that much far behind you. You see what I'm saying? No matter what you give us today, all of us, that still puts us that much behind everyone else. So that would be what, if you give everyone this money, everyone's happy for the minute, you know, but the Black community is still thinking in their head, we're still 400 years behind though. Did that help at all or make sense
No,
at all?
I 100% understand where you're coming from. I'm just, I guess I'm questioning is, will it lead to an America where people are really come together and that there's general consensus about this as a solution. And I think that's why it should be switched. The better way is to switch it around and start with universal basic income, because right now so many people are trapped in a mindset of scarcity, that there's not enough to go around. People are greedy. They want to hold on to what's theirs. You gotta build a wall to keep, people out that are going to come and take our jobs because there's not enough. We gotta, and that's the way people are. And universal basic income can help shift us to a mindset of abundance. There's enough for all of us to succeed. And when we have that when we feel that way, that we want to see everyone succeed, that we're not worried that there's not going to be enough for our kids. When we have that shift, then it will be so much easier to say, okay, good, my kids are taken care of. What else can I do to make things right? And I think then that will be, America will be in a better place to be more introspective and say, all right, what other problems do we need to address now that we've taken care of some of the big ones? And then to look further back in our history and address some of the wrongs that we've done. So that's why I think it needs to be in the opposite direction. We've got to change the mindset first, because if you force reparations, if you pass reparations today, I believe it will be unnecessarily divisive in this country, and it won't help us heal. And we are at a point in American history where things can go in a couple of different directions. And the best solution is to help us heal and come together as opposed to dividing us. So
I think
No,
they're,
I hear you.
I think they're, yeah. I think they're both, but I think they're both in the same direction. I mean, look, if you come from a mindset of abundance, then why in the heck would you not, do reparations? So I think they're in the same direction, and I think there's different there's a difference about what comes first in time versus what is more important, what is a priority, what's more important. Those things are different. Yeah. I don't know what else to say about it.
I was going to say, can we do both? Can we lift all people and create reparations? It's like it's a debt owed. But like Brian's saying, it's hard to get blood out of a turnip. It's like if we all were getting our needs met, we would be more likely to agree to everyone getting what's right.
yeah.
But of course, geez, we're back to, Brian with his, let's get these legislators to move in a certain direction. And that would include all of this that we're talking about tonight.
And I get that. I totally hear you.
Yeah. So Jimin, the way that this legislative package works is it includes sort of some MMT stuff by adding new currency directly into the economy, digital treasury dollars, and issues them in a way so that every American gets an equal share. So it creates a trickle up economy that the money will work its way up the economic ladder, but it'll revitalize all these poor communities, and predominantly communities of color, that there's not enough money circulating in there, and then that's causing the mindset of scarcity because there is artificial scarcity
Yeah,
because of the way that we've set up our
here.
economy. Right.
Yeah, it's all up here in closets.
Right. And so once we start that system of the money coming in at the bottom, then that and we sort of acknowledge this principle that we can just add money directly to the economy. I think that'll make it easier to go further with it, whether in reparations or in other ways.
Yeah, I hear you, and we could talk all day.
Yeah.
And I totally get you, but no matter what, if you give everyone, we're still 400 plus years behind.
Right.
So that would be my last qualm on it.
It's an interesting thing from a little bit of a more abstract level, which is, our whole idea here is to create a consensus that is inclusive, that anybody wants to join us can join us, and we're going to create a consensus that is as much as possible includes everybody. And to me, part of that, I think you do have to row in the direction of truth. I think if 50% or even 70% of people say, water is dry and water is not dry, you gotta say, this is true, and it doesn't necessarily mean that some particular thing needs to happen, or that people necessarily should be punished for the actions of their ancestors or anything like that. But I think the truth part of it, at the very least, I think we have to row in that direction. That's what I think. Yeah.
I mean, and as parents, Eddie, right? We've had to do this, right? Where the kids are fighting in the other room, and you go in, and a wrong has been done, or something's been broken, whatever, and you can't make everybody happy.
Yeah.
But you've got to listen to the facts, make a decision, and then expect we got to move on and move forward. And so sort of the same thing. We can't necessarily repair everything that has happened in the past, but we can try and come up with the fairest, best response, and and try and make people as whole as possible going forward.
Yeah, you can't ever repair the past, but you gotta acknowledge it. Yeah.
All right. I don't really have any other final thoughts.
Yeah, we're actually past time.
I'm sorry, y'all. Yeah,
no, that's
probably...
okay. No apologies. But I'm saying that because so I guess I'm gonna go ahead and end the official meeting, and everyone's welcome to stay around and chat. But hope anybody who happens to be listening, join us again next week, in person or on YouTube. Thanks everybody. See you guys next week.